Hi, and welcome to the Becoming Trauma-Informed podcast, where we help you understand how your past painful experiences are affecting your current reality and how you can shift those so you can create your desired future. I'm Dr. Lee, and both myself and our team at the Institute for Trauma and Psychological Safety are excited to support you on your journey. We talk about all the things on this podcast. No topic gets left uncovered. So, extending a content warning to you before we get started. If you notice yourself getting activated while listening, invitation to take care of yourself and to pause, skip ahead a bit, or just check out another episode. Let's dive in.
Hey y'all, what's up? Dr. Lee here, and I'm really excited for this episode. So, first of all, there's been a lot happening in behind the scenes at the Institute, in my own life, with TLC, my husband, who also works at the Institute, with just everything. And I almost forgot even that I needed to do a podcast episode this week, because I've been recording podcasts on so many other people's podcasts that I forgot that I needed to put one out for myself. I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was hilarious. So I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about today, because there were a lot of things we could talk about today. And I wanted to just tell y'all about this week, because I think that sometimes there's this idea that once you have, quote unquote, healed your trauma, once you have really gone through the trauma recovery process, that things just are going to be sunshine and roses and rainbows and unicorns and all of that moving forward. And as much as I wish that that was the truth, it's just not. The thing of it is that going through the trauma and recovery process and making a commitment to understanding why you are the way that you are, why you do the things that you do, and not from a place of judgment, from a place of curiosity and compassion. When you do that and you go through this process, it's not that things get easier, it's that you get more resilient. You're able to more easily handle and more intentionally handle the things that get thrown your way. And this week was actually a really good, I don't want to say test, but almost like a good experience to just kind of show me and show TLC and the team at the Institute, wow, okay, we've been through a lot, and also things are getting good. Things are getting really good. And the way that we realize that things are actually getting really good is we had a bunch of stuff go wrong. And the thing that came out of stuff going, quote unquote, wrong is this really cool thing that I'm going to tell you about at the end, because we just launched it yesterday. If you're listening to this the day this came out, so May 8th, where we shared this, I'm going to tell you about it at the end. But the thing that came out of this was just, I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. Right. And I want to share this because I think what a lot of people don't understand, especially people when they're talking about manifestation or goal setting or all of these things, what a lot of people don't understand is that manifestation and goal setting and driving towards something and going after a goal, even if you're kind of starting at the beginning, right? Even if you're like, man, I feel really broken. I feel like there's something wrong with me. I don't understand why I'm like this. Maybe you're at the point in your journey where this is the first time that you're even hearing about trauma or hearing about regulation and resilience and psychological safety and all these terms. Maybe you didn't even know trauma existed. You didn't even know you had trauma. If you're at that point in your journey and you're starting to think about, okay, what do I do with this? Or if you're further along and maybe and when I say further along, by the way, I really don't like those terms of ahead, behind, forward, back. I really don't. If you are somebody who has already started in on the journey of recovery, or you've been working through and processing through the past painful experiences that you've had and understanding other people that you are connected to, their past painful experiences. If you've been here for a hot minute, you also are probably setting some goals and thinking about how you want things to feel and how you want things to look and what you want to move toward. The thing about all of that is that the more intentional the less triggered, the more regulated you can be as you start to make these decisions, as you start to take steps towards whatever it is that you desire to feel or to have or to be. It just works so much better. Like the more you can slow yourself down and the more you can let things unfold and the more you can be patient and the more you can not rush, the more beautiful life can be. And the more like stuff that looks wrong or looks bad or seems like it was a mistake or a failure, the more you can really use that as a stepping stone towards whatever direction you're trying to go in. And so when I say that like a lot of things went wrong this week, on paper, I think that they looked really wrong. And also from a bird's eye view, I was like, wow, I'm actually so glad that all of these things happened because number one, I could see the shift in intentionality and regulation and alignment and just like healing that myself and my family and our team and everybody has done. And also, it was really cool to see that like if you can change your perspective, if you can look at things from a different viewpoint, when they seem to not go your way, sometimes they actually really are going your way. And if you can get a different perspective, then you can use that. So let me stop being like euphemistic about all of this and actually give you the lowdown of what happened, because a lot of people are like, spill the tea, Lee. What happened to you this week? What happened? So here's what happened. Last week, TLC and I took a much needed vacation. And before we went on vacation, I got sick. I got a cold. It wasn't COVID, but I got this really weird cold, upper respiratory infection. And I felt bad. Like I did not feel good. And we have been like prepping for launches for the Trauma Sensitive Entrepreneur that we held, the one-day event we held last week. And we had this pretty intense schedule that was set up through July. And I was kind of looking at it and going like, oh, like I'm having to do stuff every day and I'm working a lot more than I normally do. And like, oh, I'm so excited for this vacation. And then I got sick. So then I had to like kind of pull up all my extra reserve energy and go, okay, all right, let's get through it. And so we got on the plane and my ears wouldn't pop on the way back down. And that was the most pain I've ever been in. I don't want to say that. I would say it's probably top 5 times of pain that I've ever had. And that might have been worse than childbirth because it was constant, right? It wasn't like contractions. It was just like a constant pressure. Hurt all the way down into my jaw. Like my bones hurt. I almost threw up. I was hurting in so much pain. And we had 2 flights. So we came down off the first flight. I kind of got one ear to pop. The other one stayed with all the pressure behind it. And then we had to go again. And so the second time coming down, I was like crying. I was crying in the seat. And TLC's just like rubbing my leg. And he's like, can I do anything? And I'm like, no. So I'm like using my meditation practice. I'm like using my 10-second protocol. I'm using all of the tools that I have. And I actually was able to get through that. And several hours later, they finally popped. But then every time I bent over, they like refilled up. So it was just this like really awful experience. I couldn't hear anything. We went to lunch and the poor waiter like was trying to talk to me. I couldn't hear a single thing he was saying. TLC kept having to yell at me in the airport. And I don't know about y'all, but like as an autistic person, sensory is a big deal for me. And not being able to hear, like I felt really, really overwhelmed and really on edge. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep having to practice my regulation practices. So luckily when I woke up on Saturday, it was much better. TLC and I ended up having the most fabulous vacation. And on Saturday, we were sitting on this rooftop pool in Miami. It's gorgeous. I'm staring at my husband who like, we're just having the most like fun, romantic, intimate, playful, like happy time. We've had a lot of conversation. We're like honoring each other's needs for both intimacy and for like some autonomy, having a little bit of alone time, because that's a big thing for me. I'm just staring at him and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love him so much. And I wrote a post and I'm actually doing a masterclass with a friend, an online friend that I met who runs a Bridging the Gap community group. And we're doing a masterclass on communication. And so I put up a post like, hey, if anybody's interested in this. And I talked about how amazing this trip's been and how much I love my husband after 18 and a half years because of the work that we've done and because of how I've shifted my communication and how I've shifted in understanding my own past painful experiences and gone through this trauma recovery process. And I was talking about how he's like my provider and my protector. And a lot of people, we had a couple people say like, well, he's not your provider because he doesn't provide financially. I was like, do you know how much that man provides for me? I don't need him to provide money. He provides like everything else. He's making me lunch right now because he loves me. And he knows that it's important for me to be fed in between calls. So like, yeah, provider for sure. Protector, like father, amazing father to the 3 most amazing kids in the world. So I put this post up. I think nothing of it because I love my husband. I thought nothing of it. So fast forward a day, and all of our audience has watched TLC. Those who've been in our world for a hot minute, they've watched TLC and I, they've heard him on this podcast. They know our relationship. They've seen us. And so like, they love that kind of post. Other humans who are not used to a polarized relationship with a woman who really like calls her husband a provider and a protector, a lot of people found that really offensive, which was surprising and yet not surprising to me. Basically, long story short, the post got shared in a unexpected group where the focus is really anger towards men and how, we're not going to praise men for how low the bar has been set. Like, we're not going to praise men for making us lunch or like for helping with kids or doing things that like we're expected to do. And, we're not going to set women back hundreds of years to the 1900s and like just saying some really nasty stuff. They started making fun of me. They started implying I was brainwashed. They started saying some really horrible stuff about TLC. And it was just really unexpected. And while this is happening, we also have a post, a reel going viral on Facebook. We have a post going mini viral or reel going mini viral on TikTok. I am in the middle of doing a free community training on anxiety and depression in the immigrant population. That's so good that they're like, can you please come back again? We ended up staying on for a half hour extra. I log off of that. I look at my phone and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I don't care. Like, we're in Miami. Like, let's just go have fun. Right. So we went out and we had a really good talk and had fun and got back. And then we got like 4 hours of sleep on the plane ride home. And meanwhile, like stuff's starting to really heat up on this Facebook post. And we don't know where it's coming from because we didn't realize at that point that the post had been shared in another group. Like, I was just like, I don't know where all of these very, very angry women are coming from. Like, what is going on? And we're trying to figure it out on the back end. And so finally somebody shared with us Monday morning, like, this is what happened. And so that provided a lot of clarity. So at any rate, I get home, I've slept for 4 hours. I forgot to take my ADHD meds. Apparently TLC told me to take my ADHD meds, but my cute little rebellious butt said, no, I don't even remember this. He's like, I told you to take them. First day I haven't had them in 3 months. My meds help me with my emotional regulation. And so I'm dysregulated. I'm tired. I'm still a little sick. My ears do not feel great. And I have like hundreds of people online that are saying a bunch of stuff about us. And I could not get myself back to regulation. And the cool part about this is TLC was also dysregulated because he was exhausted. This was really bothering me and he couldn't do anything about it because he's like, if I come on here and say stuff, I'm a man, they're going to get mad. So it's going to just make it worse. So Monday just sucked. It just sucked. I knew I was like, I just got to go to bed. Now, to kind of provide some more context for this too, I've talked about this in a recent episode. We've been really shifting what we're doing at the Institute. So I have been releasing all of my one-on-one clients. I only have one one-on-one client right now. We've been prepping for consulting. We've been prepping our merch line. We've been prepping a bunch of things. And also like we had a bunch of things finishing and a bunch of things about to start. And so there's all this operational stuff that's going on. There's all this financial stuff that's going on. There's all this team stuff going on. And it was a lot. And the thing that helped me realize that we were in a much different place is, TLC and I did not argue the 3.5 days we were on vacation. And then we had like little back and forth arguments once we arrived home at 2 p.m. until I put my butt to bed at 9 p.m. because I was like, I got to go to bed. And even that night, we had set boundaries with each other and we had said like, this is what we need. And TLC was like, I don't have the capacity to give you that. So you're going to have to figure out how to get it yourself. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, if you can't give me that, that's fine. And can you just tell me like what this looks like moving forward? And he's like, yes. And he did. And then I was able to go to sleep. And the next day I woke up and I was like, okay, what needs cleaned up? What is mine? What is not mine? And how do I address this in an aligned, intentional, regulated way? So talked with my girl Rowan, who runs the Bridging the Gap group. We came up with a plan, talked with team. We came up with a plan, talked with TLC. We came up with a plan, went online and shared with everybody what that plan was. And then I kind of just sat Tuesday and I was like, I feel like this is something, right? Meanwhile, we are having all of these people come into the Institute. Like we gained 5,000 new followers in 48, 72 hours. We have, hundreds of thousands of people watching this video, hundreds, I think at this point, probably thousands of comments. And all of these people are like, I want help. I want help. I need help. I would like to learn more about this. I would like to learn more about this. And I sat with it and we've been answering people and giving them resources. And I was like, there's something here. And I don't quite know what it is. And so I've been sitting in this. I'm supposed to be doing something. Something's supposed to be shifting. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to be patient for like 2 months. And Tuesday and Wednesday morning, I was like, we're close because we're losing things. We're having like really weird stuff happen. We're at that point where I'm like, how has this not changed already? Why hasn't this worked for us already? Which, by the way, if you're in the manifestation world, are 3 big signs that something you desire is coming your way. When stuff leaves or you lose it because it creates space, when stuff gets weird because it helps shift your perspective. And then when you start feeling like, oh my gosh, how has this not happened already? It's like, you're close. And so we were experiencing all of that. And I was like, okay, it's coming. It's coming. I don't know what it is. It's coming. Then Wednesday, I was like, we really need a better resource for people. Because right now, we don't have a general resource that teaches people what trauma is, how it works, how it affects us, what to do about it. That's like simple and easily consumable and is beginner friendly and is useful and is easily accessible, both from a tech perspective and from a cost perspective. So we were talking on our team meeting yesterday about, I think there's a big opportunity here. So we were like going around and chatting and having some good conversation. And we were going to be launching the Trauma Sensitive Business Collective yesterday. And we were going to be launching TLC and my Devoted program at the beginning of June. And we were going to promote both of those all month. And I was like, no, I'm tired of launching. I'm tired of launching. You know what I want to do? I was like, let's create this resource and let's do it live. And so I said that out loud and I was like, what if we don't launch the collective and don't launch Devoted? And for the next 2.5 weeks, we just promote the heck out of this free event where people can come for free and learn this information. And they can ask questions and they can be in community. We can really grow the group because our Facebook group's been growing a lot. And this way people get connected, they get on our email list, they get, it's not like we're sending them to a podcast and then we can't check up on them because we don't have their email or they're not in our group. So we can't message them and say like, hey, how's it going? Right. Which is such a huge piece of the trauma sensitive, psychologically safe community. Like, how am I supposed to ensure that you are feeling more safe and supported if there's no way for me to follow up with you? Right. And not from like a sales perspective, but from like a nurturing, caring perspective. I want to be intentional about how we connect. We all do at the Institute. And so we were like, okay, let's come up with it. 5-day event, May 22nd through 26th in the Facebook group. You can come on Zoom or be in the Facebook group. And we're going to name it the name of the program, the course, the short resource, or the accessible resource we're going to make. And then at the end of it, we'll take the 5 recordings that we did and we'll put them together and we'll package them up and they'll be like, I don't know, we haven't decided on the price yet, but under $20 and people can buy it and they can get started because this can feel so overwhelming when you realize that one thing you're doing is a trauma response. And then all of a sudden you're learning that a lot of the things that you do are trauma responses. That is overwhelming and you don't know what to do with that. And you don't know where to start. And you oftentimes don't want to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to do that. You want a quick and easy way to know what's going on and to understand more. And so that's what we realized we were missing, and the follow-up piece too. And that's what we're going to do. So the 5-day event is going to be called Adapt. And Adapt is a 5-part process to understanding trauma and recovery. And what Adapt looks like is it's going to be a free event in our group, like I said. So if you're interested in it, you can pop down to the show notes right now and sign up for it. Each day for 5 days, I'm going to teach you one of the 5 pieces. And so ADAPT, Adapt, the first day is awareness, right? What is trauma? What does it mean to be adaptable? What does it mean to be resilient, right? What is this? Because a lot of people don't understand what trauma is, how it shows up in their life, how it affects them, right? So what is it? Very simple. Day 2 is discovery. D is discovery. So how does trauma affect us, both as individuals, as humans in relationship, and then as humans in like the larger world, in communities and organizations and systems and countries and globally? Day 3 is going to be accountability. So understanding how can we change how our past affects our present and our future. So how can we understand how to change our present and our future and not have it be negatively impacted by our past? Day 4 is possibility. And possibility, we're going to look at what are all the things that we can do to heal and recover and become more resilient. Like, how do we do that? And then day 5 is transformation. And we're going to talk about next steps. What are your next steps? And so we're going to have some free resources. We're going to talk about our business collective. We're going to talk about our relationship program. We're going to talk about our self-study courses, because we want to make sure that whatever feels like your best next step, you have access to that and you know about it. So that is what that's going to look like. We're going to be giving away prizes because our merch line is coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my shirt right here. This is one of our shirts that's coming your way. We're going to be giving away merch. We're going to just like, it's going to be fun, which kind of seems weird to say about trauma, but like, we're going to have fun. And so the other way that we're setting this up too is normally when we do trainings like this, or I should say when people or entrepreneurs do trainings like this and they give away prizes for inviting friends, especially in Facebook groups, what they do is they tell you to invite people without their consent. And so the way that this will work in our group is we actually have group questions that you have to answer before you join. And one of the questions will be, who invited you here to this training? And so the only way that you get credit for who invited you to this training is if somebody answers that, because that tells us that they consented to you inviting them in. And that's just one way that we're protecting the community, that we're making sure people feel safe and supported, that they want to be there, that we have their enthusiastic consent. And we wanted a way to thank people who were sharing this information with other people who needed it, because that's really why we're here, right? I know a lot of entrepreneurs start businesses and institutes, like they're like, I want to make millions of dollars and, I want to be famous and I want to do all this. And like, I wasn't planning on saying this, but I want to say this. I don't give a crap if I make millions of dollars. I don't care. My life's good. Maybe a different house, maybe some more travel, maybe a newer car, but like, I don't need much more than I already have. I don't need any more than I already have. I don't want much more than I already have. What I want is a world where people feel more regulated. What I want is to really enjoy interacting with as many people as possible. What I want is for other people to like feel what I feel in my body now compared to how I used to feel just a few years ago, because that matters to me. That is what matters to me. That is what matters to us at the Institute. So are we going to sell to you? Sure. And the reason we're going to sell to you is because we know what this does. And in order to be able to provide it to you, I need to make sure that my team and myself and my kids, that we are able to financially pull this off for you, right? But like, as far as me running this business to try to make millions of dollars, a lot of those, that was actually one of the critiques, is like, you're making money off paying people or teaching people what they should already know. Well, I agree that people should already know this, and we're not teaching it in schools. We're not teaching it in homes because nobody knows how to do it. And so what we're trying to do is change that And we do want to do that at the government level. We do want to do that at the legal level. We do want to do that at the systems level. And guess what? That means we need more people to know it first, because it's hard to start a movement when you don't have a lot of people. So even if this impacts, one other person, one individual, that is worth it. And what we know at the Institute, after all of us doing this work, is there's such a ripple effect of understanding what trauma is, how it affects you, how it affects how you show up in the world, and understanding what you can do about it so you feel more regulated and intentional and calm and happy and fulfilled and successful and peaceful and excited and passionate. And you're not always focused on just how bad you feel, right? We know the ripple effect that has. We've seen it. I've seen it in my own home. I've seen it extend out to the humans that I know and I love. I've seen it. I've seen the ripple effects in so many people, and others deserve to have that. So that is why we want you to invite people. That is why we want you to join, because we want you to experience this. So I hope to see you inside of the event, inside of the Becoming Trauma Informed Facebook group. You will see, again, it's in the show notes. You'll see the link below. Come join us. If somebody turned you on to the podcast and you join the event from the podcast, please let us know that they were the one who referred you to the podcast. So where it says who referred you, like whoever sent the podcast to you, put their name in so that we can say thank you to them. Okay. I love you all. I hope to see you inside. Have a blessed, regulated, intentional, aligned, calm, peaceful, wonderful day. And if that's not currently possible for you, I want to just speak over you that it is possible for you in the future. And if you decide that's something that you want, we're here to help you get it. So, love you all.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Invitation to head to our show notes to check out the offers and connections we mentioned. Or you can just head straight over to institutefortrauma.com and hop in our email list so that you never miss any of the cool things that we're doing over at the Institute. Invitation to be well and to take care of yourself this week, and we'll see you next time.